Welcome to Rad2, another daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. An open letter to the Reddit community. After 2 weeks abroad, I was looking forward to returning to the US this weekend. But as I got off the plane at LAX on Sunday, I wasn't sure what country I was coming back to. President Trump's recent executive order is not only potentially unconstitutional, but deeply un-American. We are a nation of immigrants. After all, in the tech world, we often talk about a startup's unfair advantage that allows it to beat competitors. Welcoming immigrants and refugees has been our country's unfair advantage. And coming from an immigrant family has been mine as an entrepreneur. As many of you know, I am the son of an undocumented immigrant from Germany and the great-grandson of refugees who fled the Armenian genocide. A little over a century ago, a Turkish soldier decided my great-grandfather was too young to kill after cutting down his parents in front of him. Instead of turning the sword on the boy, the soldier sent him to an orphanage. Many Armenians, including my great-grandmother, found sanctuary in Aleppo, Syria, before the two reconnected and found their way to Ellis Island. Thankfully they weren't retained, rather they found this message: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me." I lift my lamp beside the golden door. My great-grandfather didn't speak much English, but he worked hard, and was able to get a job at Endicott Johnson Shoe Company in Binghamton, NY. That was his family's golden door. And though he and my great-grandmother had 4 children, all born in the US, immigration continued to reshape their family. Generation after generation, the one son they had, my grandfather, here's his armor, volunteered to serve in the Second World War and married a French-Armenian immigrant. And my mother, a native of Hamburg, Germany, decided to leave her friends, family, and education behind after falling in love with my father, who was born in San Francisco. She got a student visa, came to the US and then worked as an au pair, uprooting her entire life for love in a foreign land. She overstayed her visa. She should have left, but she didn't. After she and my father married, she received a green card, which she kept for over a decade until she became a citizen. I grew up speaking German, but she insisted I focus on my English in order to be successful. She eventually got her citizenship and I'll never forget her swearing-in ceremony. If you've never seen people taking the Pledge of Allegiance for the first time as US citizens, it will move you. A room full of people who can really appreciate what I was lucky enough to grow up with. Simply by being born in Brooklyn, it thrills me to write reference letters for enterprising founders who are looking to get visas to start their companies here, to create value and jobs for these United States. My forebears were brave refugees who found a home in this country. I've always been proud to live in a country that said yes to these shell-shocked immigrants from a strange land, that created a path for a woman who wanted only to work hard and start a family here. Without them, there's no me, and there's no Reddit. We are Americans. Let's not forget that we've thrived as a nation because we've been a beacon for the courageous, the tired, the poor, the tempest-tossed. Right now, Lady Liberty's lamp is dimming, which is why it's more important than ever that we speak out and show up to support all those for whom it shines, past, present, and future. I ask you to do this however you see fit. Whether it's calling your representative, this works, it's how we defeated SOPA plus PIPA, marching in protest, donating to the ACLU, or voting, of course, and not just for presidential elections. Our platform, like our country, thrives the more people and communities we have within it. Reddit, Inc. will continue to welcome all citizens of the world to our digital community in our office. Alexis, and for all of you American Redditors who are immigrants, children of immigrants, or children's children of immigrants, we invite you to share your family's story in the comments. Our progress in degeneracy appears to me to be pretty rapid. As a nation, we began by declaring that all men are created equal. We now practically read it. All men are created equal, except Negroes. When the know-nothings get control, it will read, all men are created equal, except Negroes, and foreigners, and Catholics. When it comes to this, I should prefer emigrating to some country where they make no pretense of loving liberty. To Russia, for instance, where despotism can be taken pure, and without the base alloy of hypocrisy. Abraham Lincoln, Speeches and Writings, 1832 to 1858. A nation made of man, he spoke. Alike in state instead, a fond accord of equal folk. Except for you, he said. How dare Lincoln be so intolerant and call people who don't think like him know-nothings? This disconnect between his elitism and the hard-working Confederates is why the South won the war. Just trying to sound like the angry Trump supporters on Reddit nowadays. Russia has sucked for as long as sucking has existed. It's why there are so many great poets and writers from Russia. Wow, I haven't heard this quote before. I had to look it up just to be safe. That was pretty prescient. Lincoln was literally the first person to say, if Trump gets elected, I'm moving. Quote. Interesting. I'd never heard of Speed, but reading about Lincoln and Speed reminds me of Hamilton and Lawrence. Lincoln, though notoriously awkward and shy around women, was at the time engaged to Mary Todd, a vivacious, if temperamental, society girl, also from Kentucky. As the dates approached for both Speed's departure and Lincoln's own marriage, Lincoln broke the engagement on the planned day of the wedding, January 1, 1841. Speed departed as planned soon after, leaving Lincoln mired in depression and guilt. 7 months later, in July 1841, Lincoln, still depressed, decided to visit Speed in Kentucky. Speed welcomed Lincoln to his paternal house where the latter spent a month regaining his perspective and his health. I bet those kind of relationships were way more common back then than we'd expect. I'll share a bed with anyone as long as they don't hog the blankets or smell bad. I wonder what Lincoln smelled like. Pennies. Frick, we're actually in the darkest timeline equals. After starting to watch Community for the first time ever this past month, I was so excited when I got to that scene, just because this stock gif finally made sense. Guys, what does a pregnancy test look like? It's like a thin piece of plastic with a thing on the end of it. Okay, so this is definitely a gun. Alexis, although your words are kind, I believe the best way you can help Reddit cope with this kind of issues is to improve the modding, staff, etiquette, regulation in the site. Places like World News, News, @the_Donald and other subreddits have grown into cesspools of terrible comments and lots of hatred. Please do something to improve this. Every day I post an instance where @the_Donald harassed or threatened violence against transgender individuals. This is going to continue for weeks because there is so much transgender hatred on that subreddit. @the_Donald is one of the largest transgender hate forums on the internet. @the_Donald should be really named transgender_people_hate because so much of their content is just transgender hate and it doesn't have anything to do with Trump. They've gotten away with this every day for months while being the most visible subreddit on the site. It's pretty disgusting how this site harbors one of the largest transgender hate forums on their internet. The harassment and especially the threats of violence should be breaking site rules. Maybe just a World News and News. I thought the whole point of specific subreddits was freedom to say what you want to say. I don't even go on @the_Donald, but I felt like they have the right to say whatever bullcrap they want to post on there. But that's the point. World News should include things you don't agree with, and regularly I do see people getting banned because the mod doesn't agree with them. Got banned from Uplifting News for suggesting that Airbnb's decision to house displaced immigrants may have been for PR. Of course, the dozen replies personally attacking various aspects of my identity were just completely ignored by moderators, and upvoted fairly well. If I knew you weren't allowed to post dissenting opinions, I wouldn't have bothered commenting in the first place. Yeah, how in the hell is a subreddit like a World News compared to @the_Donald? One is obviously going to be completely biased towards a certain matter. Exactly. There is nothing wrong with the _Donald, since it does not pretend to be something it is not. World News and politics both pretend to be unbiased, when in reality they are the epitome of censorship. See also, uncensored news, alt-right, white BT, conspiracy, the red pill. They are the petri dish for the bacteria that is the alt-right. Leaving them open is letting them fester. I used to mod default subs and I can tell you this. These people are not contained. They swarm to every open space that does not stomp them down. Look at terrorists like Dylan Roof, Alexandra Bissonnette, Elliot Rogers. Young white males are becoming radicalized on the internet and we need to stop providing spaces for it to happen. Our white BT fascist beauty standards reign supreme. This is a SFW subreddit. So please no news, no Jews, either. Wow, okay then. Yup, these are full of racist buttheads. That apparently Reddit is okay with. For God's sakes, one user is an avid denier of the Holocaust. One user, believe me, it's more than that. The history mod queue was full of them daily when I modded there. Our alt-right is a blatantly racist sub that preaches hate. They call for the extermination of Jews and other usual neo-Nazi crap. How are they still allowed to be here when Coontown was shut down? FFS former Coontown mods started that sub in the first place. Funnily enough, some _Donald mods have ties to these same mods. You, not zero thing, I'd love to see you reply to this. Why is it that every time this topic comes up, people call for censorship? The word censorship has been thrown around so much that it's almost lost all meaning. But what you're calling for is censorship in the classic sense. A view I disagree with should be purged. It's annoying that I can't defend those places without casting doubts on my own character. Look through my comment history. You'll see I don't go to any of them. I'm neutral here, but I can't stay quiet. The fact that your comment has 104 points in 15 minutes is, frankly, scary. Your behavior is a part of a general trend of suppress what we hate. Don't bother reasoning with anyone or trying to talk to them. Hate, hate, hate. It's tiresome and it doesn't work. History has mountains of evidence showing that it doesn't work. Reddit itself has a lot of evidence showing it doesn't work. Remember when EJKP tried it? Stop trying to shame everybody you don't like off of Reddit. Edit. This isn't about legalities like whether Reddit is legally required not to censor. This is about what works versus what doesn't. You have a group you hate, and you're demonizing them and dehumanizing them. What do you think is going to happen? The so-called paradox of freedom is the argument that freedom in the sense of absence of any constraining control must lead to very great restraint, since it makes the bully free to enslave the meek. The idea is, in a slightly different form, and with very different tendency, clearly expressed in Plato, less well known as the paradox of tolerance. Unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. If we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed, and tolerance with them. In this formulation, I do not imply, for instance, that we should always suppress the utterance of intolerant philosophies, as long as we can counter them by rational argument and keep them in check by public opinion. Suppression would certainly be unwise, but we should claim the right to suppress them if necessary, even by force. For it may easily turn out that they are not prepared to meet us on a level of rational argument. But begin by denouncing all argument. They may forbid their followers to listen to rational argument, because it is deceptive, and teach them to answer arguments by the use of their fists or pistols. We should therefore claim, in the name of tolerance, the right not to tolerate the intolerant. We should claim that any movement preaching intolerance places itself outside the law, and we should consider incitement to intolerance and persecution as criminal, in the same way as we should consider incitement to murder, or to kidnapping, or to the revival of the slave trade, as criminal. Karl R. Popper, The Open Society and Its Enemies. Reddit is not a government. If you had a bar and for some reason it became the go-to meeting place for skinheads, would you keep serving their liquor? Freak that. Yeah, Reddit is effectively paying for service space so Nazis can recruit more people and expand their ranks. I get the angst against censorship, but when your beliefs are that Jews and black people are inferior races and should be disposed of, you shouldn't be welcome on a site that brands itself as a site welcoming to all people. Edit. Proof of Nazis using Reddit to recruit Nazis. From the Daily Stormer, a white supremacist website. However, for white nationalists, the really great thing about Reddit is that it provides quite a lot of fertile ground for recruiting young people into the pro-white movement. Reddit has a strong reputation for being a far-left SJW hugbox, and it's frequently mentioned in their same breath as Tumblr. However, many areas of Reddit are much more open to our ideas than you might think. Go on European-dominated subreddits and drop subtle red pills. Don't use gas the kikes, race war now type rhetoric. Obviously, if you must, say Zionists rather than Jews. Use their hatred of Israel and turn it into hatred of Jewry. Be subtle, be smart, and be persuasive. We brought 4chan over to our side long ago. Now, we need to focus on red-pilling Reddit then. Soon enough, every other major website, the internet is our most important tool in the struggle against the Jewish parasite. Hence why so many of the filthy nation wreckers want governments to filter it. Use the internet wisely, brothers. It is a very potent weapon. Once we succeed at making our ideas mainstream on the internet, thus winning over the hearts and minds of the youth, it's game over for international Jewry. My extended family fled from the Germans in the 30s. Most were turned away. A few lucky ones got into Canada. A few into Brazil and South America. The rest were sent back to Germany. All those sent back to Germany died. Food for thought. Edit. The only picture I have of some of them. We do not even know their names anymore. i.imager.com. Even worse. Look up the story of the MS St. Louis. A German ship carrying 937 passengers. Most of them Jewish refugees. From Nazi Germany to Cuba. They all had obtained visas, but the Cuban government changed the visa rules and retroactively revoked the visas. The German captain Gustav Schroeder tried to land the refugees in the US and Canada but was turned back both times. So the ship had to turn back with 907 passengers on board. Great Britain took in 288 and the rest were divided up by France, Belgium and the Netherlands. Only 365 of the 620 passengers who returned to continental Europe survived the war. Edit. Obligatory thanks for the gold stranger. Those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. I hated it when the college history major said this cliched line because I thought we were different. Perhaps they were right. Yeah, that's been my harsh realization of being an adult. As a teen I was like, oh, we know this crap already and we are all moving toward progress and being better people. Frick. I wonder how many of us thought that. Wonder when I realized I was wrong. Definitely this past weekend. My dad is in his deathbed. Cancer. He was born in Africa, America, and his medicine gave him an extra 12 years of life. He is an American citizen. He told me he wants to be buried at home, here in America. People complaining that Reddit is becoming too political seem to forget that the admins blacked out the entire site in protest of a specific bill being voted on in Congress. Making a post in opposition of a president's executive order is small potatoes compared to their political actions in the past. That was the net neutrality bill, correct? I've got some bad news. You might want to sit down. No. Paul Ryan is going to send a free and open internet to a nice farm upstate. He's also going to send your cousin with Als there. Maybe a few Muslims. They'll all be happy and play games and maybe do a little work and be free. Tuesday, November 6, 2018, www.usa.gov. Special elections are happening now. You can take action now. www.reddit.com. Thanks for posting this, Alexis. Thanks for sharing, Alexis. My great-grandfather was also a refugee from the Armenian genocide. He and his family found their way to America through Iran. I'm proud to work for a company that will stand up for what is right. Wait, you guys banned the _Donald. Thanks for watching Rad2. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out the original Rad channel.